Right, guys, welcome back to the Physique Academy podcast. Today, I'm joined by a very special guest, Aaron Moon, who has lost his leg. He's a leg amputee, completely rebuilt his life, became a PGA pro golfer.
Yep.
Yeah. World's first amputee indoor skydiver. And now he's taken on a huge challenge next year in the Route 66, cycling 2,400 miles on a standard bike. So welcome, mate. Thank you for coming down to the podcast. Much appreciated.
No, thank you for having me, pal.
Yeah, mate. Today's chat, mate, it's going to be quite inspiring for a lot of guys that we've got on our program. You know, as part of the Physique Academy program, you know, we have a lot of guys that typically have a lot of demotivation and hold themselves back. And, you know, from just reading about your story and from what Jake, videographer, said, it's pretty inspiring, mate. So really, I just want people to understand, you know, your mindset, how you've got to where you are now, the ReBorn Mindset as well, which obviously you've spoken about before. But can you sort of just share a little bit about your story on, you know, how you actually lost your leg? Was it in
Afghanistan? Yeah. It's been a crazy ride. In 2009, I was in the Royal Marines. We deployed out to Afghanistan. I was in a vehicle called a Viking, which is probably one of the most armoured vehicles we had out in Afghanistan. We were just riding from a place called Lashkar back to Nadi Ali to patrol base where we were based. And yeah, I think it was about 5:30 in the morning. The vehicle I was in, we went straight over the top of an IED. The bomb went off under the seat where I was sat. I got ejected through the armoured door. The vehicle got moved about 10 foot and the hole the bomb caused, I was in that. I'd smashed my whole bottom right leg to bits. It was an absolute mess. Dislocated both my knees. My left knee, my kneecap had come completely detached, was upside down, and my tib and fib was sticking through a hole on the side of my knee.
Right.
I broke my femur, broke my hip and dislocated my pelvis, broke my back, ruptured my spleen and broke my collarbone. And I had a little cut on my chin. They put me on a helicopter straight to Camp Bastion, did immediate life-saving operations on me, then got me on an aeroplane to fly me back to the UK. Whilst on that flight, I died twice and they had to bring me back to life. Got back to the UK within 24 hours of being blown up and rushed into Selly Oak Hospital where they put me in an induced coma for about 2 months.
Right. So how, like, your emotions around it now? I mean, how long had you worked in the army for at that point?
The Royal Marines, I joined in 2006, so I was 3 years into my career at the time. And then I spent another 3 years in rehab, so I did 6 years in total. But yeah, I was only 3 years into my career as a Royal Marines commando, which was quite heartbreaking, to be honest.
Yeah. And I mean, it must have been quite a journey, mate, you know, for the rehabilitation. I've actually got a friend that goes to David Lloyd. You might know him. He's called Dave from Blackburn. He was also a leg amputee, and he went through some seriously like dark periods of his life, you know, after that. Just because it's such a huge thing, you know, just for like daily movement and just day-to-day activities. So what was the rehabilitation process over those years like for you?
Yeah, rehabilitation was pretty intense. I kept my leg for a year. They kept operating on it. I had cages on the outside. I had rods down my bones, stuff like that. A year later, the doctor sat down to me and they basically said, look, your leg's not going to get any better. This is your future now, or you can have your leg amputated. And instantly I was like, all right, let's just get it off. Let's go. I want to develop. I'd seen lads come into rehab. I was in a lucky position. It sounds weird saying lucky, but I was in that fortunate position that there were lads getting injured around me that had been injured after me that lost their legs immediately. And they were running, they were out doing all these sports, and I'm still struggling on crutches or in a wheelchair or just in agony constantly. And I'm seeing these lads come in and go, and they're like leagues ahead of me, and I'm like, I've been injured for a year longer than them. How am I not at that stage? So when I was given that opportunity, it was a no-brainer for me. It was quite an easy choice, and I was just like, let's get it off. I wanna go, because I think I'm quite lucky to the sense that I was a Royal Marine Commando, and I had that mindset that I was still a Royal Marine and nothing's got, like, bullets bounce off you and all this, and we're hard as nails. So
stoic mindset.
Yeah, like, I was never going to be beaten by a bomb. So, like, get it off and let's go. I'll still be a Royal Marine, and unfortunately I wasn't. But yeah, I was quite lucky in that sense that I had that around me, and I had the mindset from what I've been through training, through Afghanistan, through the year of having a leg that doesn't work. I mean, my left knee was probably the worst part of my body originally. They thought I was going to lose my leg above the knee, because my knee came completely detached, and they managed to save my PCL in my left knee, and that was the only ligament I had left in my left knee up until 6 years ago, when I ruptured that completely as well. But that's another story for later on. But the rehab was intense, but I think I've always been lucky since joining the Marines that you have that mindset instilled in you that nothing's undoable. You can smash anything. I mean, I started Royal Marine training. There were 52 of us that started, and there was only 12 left of that 52 at the end. It's one of the longest, hardest training of any infantry in the world.
Through like that a little bit. What that sort of took for you to become a Royal Marine?
Hell on earth. Genuinely, we used to joke that Lympstone, where we do the training from, we used to call it Limp Switch, like Auschwitz, because it is that horrible of a place. But
gosh, it must have been dark.
There was times during that 32 weeks, I'm not too big or proud to announce to say it, I was sat on a hill crying my eyes out, wanting to come home. I'd had enough. Like, you're made to feel like you're a piece of shit. Like, you're worthless. Or you're probably worse than worthless. But it's all done to break you and break you and break you, because only the strongest will make it through. But I had it in the back of my mind that I told everybody back home. I'd announced to the world, I'm going to be a Royal Marine Commando. I'm joining the Royal Marines. I'm going to be a Royal Marine. So then points where I was like, I'm broken. I don't want to carry on. I was very much at the mind, like, I'm not going home a failure. So I'm going to have to stick this out now.
Yeah.
And thank God I did, because it gave me one of the best careers I've ever had.
Yeah. As a Royal Marine as well, I think, anyone that came up to me and said they were like a Royal Marine Commando, you think, right, this guy's hard as nails. Yeah, you must have that sort of reputation. But yeah, I mean, I've heard like stories from like Navy SEALs and stuff that they like, it's more like psychological torture that they put them through. Like, they'll sit them in like dark rooms for hours on end and just play white noise and like have them like lie down in the sea and like get dragged in and stuff. It's just, was it that same sort of ritual that those sort of things that you were doing? Have you got any like specific examples or something that's like that? Yeah,
definitely. Actually, now you say that, one springs to mind brilliantly. We have out the back of Lympstone, there's a big estuary. You find out after training that they have a thing called a mud run, where they take you on the estuary and you either get beasted or you have a bit of fun. It depends on where you are at in training and how your training team want to use it. But you find out after training that they have to book that weeks in advance, because they have to know tides, they have to have permissions and stuff like that. And we had a cracking week in training as a unit. We've been brilliant. Our troop was smashing everything. We got nothing wrong. We were doing everything right, and we got called out of our rooms, dragged down to the estuary, and we was like, oh, this is going to be fun. We'll have a game of rugby or something in the mud, it'll be a laugh. We got beasted till our eyes bled. It were horrible. You were doing press-ups in the mud that when you went to push up, your hands just sunk further in the mud. But then, because your chest ain't off the floor, you're getting a bollocking then, because they're like, get up. You're like, I am, like, this isn't. And then we had to crawl for it. It was horrible. And you're thinking at the back of your head, like, why am I getting beasted now? Like, we've been brilliant. Like, we've had a great week. What's going on? And it is literally just getting you to that point where they're just trying to break you and push you to your limits. And because like what you're going on to do, like the environments we're going to, like when I joined up, we were already fighting in Iraq and Afghan was kicking off. You're going there, like you're not going to nice places. You're not just going to go and sit in an office. You're going to these horrible places. They want to know that you're in the right place to be able to survive in the harshest of environments. So it does make sense, but at the time, it is very tough to understand it. Yeah, like emotionally as well. Do you think, like mentally, like psychologically, because it sounds like it's been. I mean, I understand it's probably been pretty traumatic, you know, to have a leg taken off. But you know, going through that mindset shift in like your training, that must have
sort of set you up, you know, to handle situations or scenarios a little bit better that arise like that? Because that's effectively, you know, what they're preparing you for, right?
Yeah, definitely. I think you are prepared. You know the risks. Like we join up, we choose to do what we're doing. Like I said, we were already at war when I signed up. You just never think it's going to be you.
Yeah,
that's the big one. Like, you do know you're prepared for it, and you've got it drilled into you that you should be able to handle it, but you just never think you'll have to. But then when it is you, don't get me wrong, not everybody can deal with it. Like, no matter what training you've been through, it's a traumatic event. I know a lot of lads with PTSD and stuff like that. Touch wood, I've always been fortunate that my mindset's just crazy in other ways that with the things I've done and the things I'm going on to do. But I think I've just been fortunate in a sense that I've been able to take my lessons and then bring them into civilian life and adapt them for trauma, adapt them for rehabilitation, adapt them for anything I need to. Hence where the ReBorn mindset came from. I find myself very fortunate that I went through that hell to get me to be able to go through further hell and not worry.
Do you still have PTSD and flashbacks or like anything like that from it?
No, not really.
No.
Like I say, I've been quite fortunate that I never got diagnosed with PTSD. My mindset's always been, I think, because I talk about my story, I use it to help others, and I tell my story a lot. I think that's helped me deal with it more as well, because I'm sure I see how much I help other people by telling my story and what I've been through and how I've managed to get through it. That kind of, when I have them points where you're like, that was me, like, you think, well, yeah, but you look at how much of a difference you've made with what you've been through. And I think that's where I'm at with everything I try and do and everything I'm wanting to go on and do. I want to make it worthwhile getting blown up, if that makes sense. It sounds like a daft thing to say, but
I completely get that.
If I can make a difference by getting, I've been blown up now, I can't change that. So if I can use that to make a difference in the world, then
it's like turning something negative into a positive.
100%.
That's going to relay onto other people. But sort of transitioning from that, mate, you know, now like the ReBorn mindset, talk to me a little bit about that. Where is that just derived from all of this experience now to go doing this crazy challenge that you're doing next year in Route 66, and then obviously being a hunter on Channel 4's Hunted? Talk to me a little bit about that. Yeah,
the ReBorn mindset it's in its infancy at the minute, but again, it's not. I've put a name to it and I've brought it to the world a bit more, but it's something I've lived for the last 16 years or so. Even like going from being a Royal Marine to being a civilian to being a PGA pro golfer to being the skydiver to all the things I've done, every time I've had to be reborn. So the idea behind the whole ReBorn mindset is the fact that it doesn't matter what you're going through, it doesn't matter what you're doing in life, it doesn't have to be something as dramatic as getting blown up. It could be losing your job, it could be a breakup, it could just be going through a tough time and feeling low and not knowing why. You can always be reborn. Like, your life isn't defined by that thing. Life's going to be defined about what you do about it. And when I do my talks for ReBorn, I have a thing called the adversity equation. So it's adversity plus response equals outcome. So adversity, it happens to everybody. It doesn't have to be negative. It don't have to. Adversity is just a thing. The only thing that's going to determine the outcome of that adversity is how you respond to it. So if you have something happen to you and you look at it as a negative, you get down in the dumps, the outcome's going to be negative no matter what. If you get that situation happen and you look at it and go, right, yeah, this sucks, but we can learn from that, we can grow from that, we're going to do this, we're going to bounce back this way, we're going to grow, and your response is in that positive light and you take a lesson and learn, your outcome's only going to send you upwards. I like to compare it to like a heartbeat on a monitor. So if you look at an ECG on a heartbeat, it's peaks and troughs, peaks and troughs. So when your heart beats and pumps blood around your body and you're alive, your heart rate's up. When it stops for a second, your heart rate goes down. If your heart rate stays at the bottom, at the lowest, and it just stays there, you're going to flatline and you're dead. But your heartbeat is going to beat again, and you're going to come back up. And that's the same with rehabilitation, anything in life, you're going to go through ups and downs. But when you're at the bottom, the only thing that matters is that you do something about it to come to the top, just like your heart. If your heart doesn't beat, you ain't coming back up again, but that's you done. If you don't do anything about your situation, you ain't coming back again. But if you look at that monitor and you act that way, and you keep that in your mind, think, right, yeah, I'm at my lowest, but my heart's going to beat again. Let's do something. Let's get back up to the top. And I think that's like, I've used that through everything I've done. And then I knew I had to start doing something about it to bring it to the world.
Yeah, I suppose it's only the individual that can change that, you know. Like the energy creates energy, you know. They have to do something about it that's going to change, like you say, change the outcome. But what a lot of guys that we work with struggle with is just, you know, if they do like fall back, it's like taking 3 or 4 steps forwards. They might do that, but then, you know, if they take 2 steps back, it's each time they take a step back, they find it even more treacherous to sort of take those steps forwards again, because it's like you move a little bit forwards, then you come back, like you say, it might peak, like you say, on like an ECG, but then you could all of a sudden come straight back down again. But that's just the way life works, isn't it?
That's your heartbeat, isn't it? That's life. It's how you beat. If you were just on one steady plane, you're dead. Like, you've got to go up, you've got to come down. But if you come down, you're only going to get back up if you do it yourself. Like with the steps thing, as you're talking about, I had a chat with my little boy the other day, and he was asking me about my bike ride. And he was like, "Daddy, you're not..." He's only 10, and he was like, "You're not scared?" It's like, it's a long, long way, Daddy. And I had announced it. It's 2,486 miles, but I found out the bike route is actually 2,517 So it's a bit further than what I thought. But I said to him, I was like, it's not 2,517 miles, it's 1 mile. And he's like, no, Dad, you're cycling across America, it's a long way. And I was like, no, it's not, it's 1 mile. I said, because once I've done that 1 mile, I just do one more. And I just do one more. And I said, before I know it, I'll have done my first day. And that's hard. That's a day ticked off and gone. And then the next morning I get up, I'll just worry about that next mile. Like, I'm not going to look at the top of a mountain when I'm starting climbing it. I'm going to look at the next step. Same with my bike ride, the next mile. Just worry about that one next mile. Don't worry about all the steps back to where you want to be. Just worry about that next little step that you can control. You can get that one done. Once you've done that, take the next one. And you'll slowly start building your way back up to the top of that heartbeat.
Yeah, compounding those wins. Yeah. It's like, yeah, similar to like when we are road mapping, like a fat loss journey, you know, if we've got someone that's a little bit more obese, I wouldn't just say, oh, mate, you know, you need to lose 40 kilos straight away, because then all of a sudden they're going to be like, they're just going to see that way off into the distance. If we just take it in 5 kilo increments, you know, focus on first 5 kilos, brilliant, acknowledge that, recognize that, next 5 kilos, acknowledge that success, then, you know, all of a sudden you've lost 10 kilos and, you know, you've not really thought too much about it. Yeah. So I think long-term vision is good, but then I would say, you know, the short-term impact and short-term vision is just as important, because again, that's going to compound those wins over the course of time. Yeah,
definitely. Like you plot a journey anywhere in your car, you go on Google Maps, you put it into your sat nav, you know your final destination, but you ain't going to get there unless you know the first turn and where you've got to turn next. So you've got to have that end goal. You've got to know where you want to be. Like, I know I want to get to LA, but I've got to get there. I'm not just going to go on it. I'm automatically going to make it there. I've got turns. I'm going to have points where I've got to go up. I've got points where I'm going to come down. I'm going to have points where I don't want to carry on and I'm going to be hurting. But you've just got to get up and worry about that next mile.
And what's inspired you sort of talking on the Route 66? You said it's next August.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's inspired you to take on that challenge? Do you just think, again, it's relating back to the ReBorn mindset? You know, you want to be like an advocate to showcase, this is what has happened to me and this is what I've been able to achieve, so why can't you, sort of thing?
Yeah, kind of. I wanted to do it back in 2024 because it was just in fitting with where I was at in life. But then as I mentioned earlier, I had my PCL left. I managed to play physical disabled rugby league for Wigan Warriors, and I ruptured my PCL completely. And I went for 2-3 years with no ligament whatsoever in my knee. Finally got in with the specialist, and he basically said, we can't give you a new knee because you're too young. I basically, looking at the mess that your knee's in, he said, the best I can give you is a ACL from a patella graft. So I was like, yeah, no, that's like, I've managed 2-3 years now with no ligament whatsoever. Give me an ACL, I'm unstoppable. But that fell like late 2023. So I was never going to be fit enough to do it in 2024. And then I kind of fell into, not a lull, but into recovery and other things. Life takes over a little bit, and I just kind of put it to the back of my mind and not really done anything about it. And it was January the 1st this year, I got rushed into hospital again. I'd had some pain in my stump, and it just felt like nerve pain, and didn't know anything about it. Went to the doctors, told them what I could feel, and they was like, just sounds like sciatica, here's some drugs, go home, take them. So I just...
Typical, innit?
Yeah. I just took them at the word, and I was like, oh yeah, it must be that. We'd not done any tests on me or anything. And then a week later, I was walking my dogs, and I almost collapsed. Like, I couldn't breathe, couldn't get my breath. Luckily, my friend's a paramedic, and he was nearby, got me home, looked after me a little bit, and he was like, right, get to bed tonight. He said, I feel like you're developing asthma, because obviously I told him I'd been to the doctors about this sciatica, and he said, obviously, they must have tested everything, which he didn't realise they hadn't. So he was like, I think you might be developing asthma by the sounds of it. So I was like, it's a bit weird. I'm like 38 years old. I shouldn't be developing asthma at this age.
Yeah.
Woke up the next morning, still couldn't breathe properly. And he phoned me at about 7 o'clock, and I answered the phone. And he was like, you all right? And I was like, yeah, mate, I'm all right. And he was like, all right, get off the phone and phone an ambulance now. So they phoned an ambulance came out. My blood oxygen level, which should be around 95% minimum, I was at 60%. Couldn't breathe, got taken to hospital, put on intensive care at Preston. They found out I had a blood clot that was covering half of both my lungs and over my heart. It's called a saddle clot. The doctors told me to phone my wife and get her to come in and see me. It was about 9-10 o'clock at night. This, I was like, it's a bit late, innit? And they're like, no, it's fine. So my wife came in with my little boy. We had a bit of time together, and then they left. And I asked the nurse, I was like, why have they said my family can come in so late? They was like, we don't know if you'll make it through the night. And I was like, fuck, like, it's not good, this.
Jesus Christ.
But they told me about like what I needed, and the monitors had my oxygen levels on and stuff like that. So I was watching it, and I was doing, like, you're probably familiar with box breathing. In for 4, hold for 4, out for 4, hold for 4. And I started doing that and watching the monitor, and I could see my oxygen, and I was calming myself, relaxing, but I could see my oxygen levels slowly rising. I had high intensity oxygen being pumped in anyway, but I was getting more of it in doing this technique. So I was like, all right, well, if I'm going to go to sleep tonight and not wake up in the morning, we're just not going to go to sleep. We'll work on this. So I spent the night watching this machine, breathing, watching the machine. And by morning, the doctors come back. They were like, wow, you still here, kind of thing. And I was like, yeah, like, this ain't going to kill me. Like, that didn't kill me back in the day. So they're like, a little blood clot's not going to kill me. So slowly they was like, right, well, we'll keep you on high intensity for a few days. You'll probably be in hospital for about 2 months. 5 days later, I was being discharged, and I was back to as good as I was like the day before I was rushed in. They put me on blood thinners and stuff like that, and it was a couple of weeks later. I got, obviously, a few months after, I got the call about hunted, and I just sat there and I was like, right, I've got this massive opportunity here to go on hunted. It'll be a great experience. So I quit the job that I was currently doing and just disappeared for the time to do the filming. And whilst I was away, I was like, right, now you've had that kick in the arse again at the start of Christmas. Now's the time to be reborn again. Let's do something. Went back to my Route 66 idea from 2024, and I was like, do you know what? Now's the time. Now's the time. Not just to show the world what you can do, but go and show yourself again what you can do. It will inspire people. It'll be out there for the world to see. We're going to document it. It's going to be everywhere. But it's also going to show me what I can still do, and show me that I can be reborn again. And like this new chapter, it's every bit is just turning that page in your book.
And what's like the next steps for your training looking like for that then? Because obviously it's a long road off. Have you got like set programming that you're scheduling? Are you getting trained by someone, or are you just doing it all by yourself?
At the minute, I'm doing it by myself basically. It's a lot of zone 2 stuff because it's endurance, it's long. I'm not trying to set any records for speed. I just want to get it done. So yeah, it's for endurance. It's a lot of sitting in that zone 2, just getting the miles in. I'm doing 2 to 3 strength training sessions a week. I'm on the bike pretty much most days. I have 1 rest day a week, which is either a nice little hike, a little bit of a jog, or a really, really slow pace ride. Couple of sprints chucked in there, but at the minute, because I've still got quite a long way to go, I've reined the diet down. I'm not going too strict yet. because I know I'm going to have to at some point. So I don't want to restrict for too long because it's not sustainable for that length of period for myself anyway. So yeah, up until Christmas, I'm just getting as many miles in through my legs. I've been talking with one of the GB coaches who coaches the cycling.
Right.
He's looking at doing some help with me. Greater Manchester University, they take care of all my rehab, and their strength and conditioning program are looking at doing some work with me as well. But at the minute, yeah, I'm just trying to get as strong as possible. And I did do PT a while back when I first came out of the Marines, because I went to gyms and nobody really wanted to touch me because I had a metal leg. I had bits sticking out my body, everything were broken, and I needed beasting. I love training to that like Royal Marine way.
Yeah.
But everybody was scared of doing that to me because I was so broken, and I got to a point where I was like, well, if they're not going to help me, I'll help myself, and I'll go and train, and did my PT quals. And I wanted to try and help people like me, but I never really stuck to it, to be honest. I wanted it more for me than helping other people, and I just at the time it was
education.
It weren't the right time for me to be worrying about helping others at that point. I had to be a little bit selfish at that point because I was newly injured, and I think it was more for my own benefit at that time. Whereas now I'm way into my recovery, and I've learned a lot over the last 16 years that I now know that I can use that to help other people and inspire people to be more than what they are or be what they want to be.
What sort of limitations have you had with, your training, with obviously having a leg amputated? There must be quite a few limiting factors to, what you can do, what you can't do, especially with like the intensity side of things as well. Training with intent, like you were saying, you have that sort of mindset of training hard. So is it held you back a little bit, in terms of that?
No, not really. I think it's just made me find other ways. I think when you want to achieve anything, fitness, any goal in life, if you really, really want it, you'll find a way to do it. So I've just had to adapt things. I mean, I was laughing with Jake, the videographer, before about the bike ride and the fact that I've never clipped into a bike before in my life. I've always used cages. I've always been like mountain biking, not road cycling. And I got my bike, I got the kit through from Saddleback, who've kitted me out really kindly, and they sent me my first pair of clipping shoes, and got my pedals, and I've got a big camper van on my drive, so I hid behind that, between that and my garage, so nobody could see me in case I fell off. And I got on and I just practiced clipping in. And it's at that point that I realised I've only got one leg and this is going to be harder than what I thought it's going to be, purely for the fact that I can clip my left leg in and out, no problem. But you have to, if for viewers that don't know how you clip in normally, but to get out, you twist your foot.
Yeah.
Obviously, I don't have a foot. So once I'm clipped in, if I try and move through my knee, which I can, my socket moves and the ankle moves, but the foot stays where it is. So when I got out on the road, I got clipped in, and I tried once or twice, and I was like, oh, screw this, let's just get out and go for it. And I got out on the road, and I very quickly realised that I am stuck to that bike and I ain't getting off it. So luckily, when I was coming up to traffic lights, I can get my left leg in and out. And then when I come to the end of the ride, first few times to try and get off the bike, I ended up just taking my leg off completely, twisting it or out of the bike, and then putting it back on the floor and put my stump back in it, and then I could get off the bike. After a while, I realised that I can, if I really smash my knee across, it unclips. But they're just them little factors that, like, when it comes to the actual limitations I've got physically, I'm yet to find many. If I do find them, like I say, I'll find a way around them. That's been the toughest part yet. And it's a scary fact when you're out on the road and you know that leg's stuck in that bike no matter what.
Oh, I can imagine, mate. Imagine when you come whizzing around corners, because you'll be going at some speed as well when you if you're going downhill or whatever.
Yeah.
When you're doing the Route 66 challenge. Oh my days.
Luckily, I've got a year to get prepared, and I'm going back into prosthetics soon, and we're going to look at designs of legs and stuff. There is a leg I can get made that clips directly into the pedal, but I want a foot on it, so when I unclip, I can walk. So we're going to play around with a few options and see what we come up with.
You're working with what? Are you working with Watt Bike?
Yeah, Watt Bike. They've been a massive help. They've got a Watt Bike coming out to my house. We're going to do a little bit of media there, going to try and raise the profile of the ride as well, which has been brilliant. I mean, Saddleback, like I said before, they've kitted me head to toe in helmets, glasses, clothing, everything I can possibly need. Between now and the end of my ride, they've said they're going to support throughout. I'm in talks with a couple of other companies at the minute. Bless me, one of the charities, they sent me a grant. There's another another charity called Team Forces. They're looking at supporting me with a grant and possibly sponsorship as well. So yeah, that's the big key for me at the minute. It's getting the right corporate people on board to get the sponsorship, to get my name out there, but to allow me to dedicate more of my time to
You're
training.
doing a fundraiser. Is it for Route 66? You're doing you're raising funds for charity.
Yeah, well, Route 66 is all for the charity.
Yeah. Which
so
charity was it?
It's going to be Bless Me, Wise Up, which is a local charity to us, and then Wounded Warrior, because you're doing the ride in America, and I've got to give a bit back to the local people over there. So I've picked Wounded Warrior in America to,
right.
And plus I've served at times with Americans, and we're very big, strong allies, so it's only nice for me to give back to them as well.
Where is it you're starting and where is it you're finishing then? For the
Chicago to LA, so you start in Chicago city centre and then finish at Santa Monica Pier.
And how many miles per day or per hours per day do you think you'll be cycling? Have you started to
do it,
plan it out? I know it's a while off yet. So
yeah, no,
you've got a lot of time yet.
It's become my life. It's took over. So yeah, I've been planning it. To do it in the 24 days, I'll have to do 105 mile a day. But the Royal Marine in me and my mindset, just the way I am, I've got it in the back of my head. We're going to have an RV. So as soon as I finish for the day, I can get my head down. I can get up and I can sleep at the side of the road if I need to. So in the back of my head, I'm going to do it as quick as possible.
And what's like? Have you got any nerves about it? Are you not nervous at all, or?
Wild dogs. We did it. I did it in a Mustang in 2013 for my honeymoon with my wife.
Right.
We had a convertible Mustang, and we got to this one point through these hills, and there's this pack of wild dogs in the middle of the road. And a Mustang's not a quiet car. And I was beeping the horn, revving the arse out of this car. And these dogs did not flinch. They just stood in the road looking at us like, what? And when I'm on a bike, they're definitely not going to move for that. But luckily, I'll have an RV in front of me that can scare them off. And
I'll tell you what, I actually went on a trip to Sri Lanka. And the hounds there, they're called. There's only like one class of dog. It's called a Sinhala hound. I was staying in a hotel, and the hotel area was like really nice. I documented it on my Instagram. I went on like a 5-6K run just around like the area. Came out of the hotel, and then it was like I just entered the Sri Lankan slums pretty much. I just entered this like really like rough and rugged area, and I was running with my girlfriend's sister's boyfriend that was with us on that trip, and we literally ran straight past this like group of Sinhala hounds, and all of a sudden they've just like, because they're not used to seeing like people running through like the villages and stuff, they just started chasing us. But like in places like that, you just it's pretty scary, especially if you're on foot as well, because like they're quickly going to outpace you. But like the risk of like rabies in countries like that, it's pretty wild, mate. Just thought I'd tell that story because it's a bit mad. Are you for the Hunted, going back to the Channel 4's Hunted series, that's all been recorded now, right? And it was recorded all over the country.
Yeah, basically the premises of the show, for anybody who's not seen it, you've got a bunch of contestants that act as fugitives. They get dropped off at a location point, a start location, and then they just disperse into the UK. They act as fugitives. They've got to go on the run for 21 days. If they manage to last the 21 days and get to the extraction point and get extracted, they win a share of 100 grand. The only problem for them is we've got headquarters in London that act as the police headquarters. They have all the same powers as the police do, so CCTV, ANPR, all that, access to bank accounts, stuff like that. Anything they do, if they trigger cameras, they use bank cards, whatever, we'll pick it up. And then they've got a team of hunters like myself. We're out on the ground chasing them down. It's obviously I was Royal Marine trained. I was with a lad from the army. Jordan. He was my first partner for the civilian one, and then I was with an RAF intelligence guy for the celebrity series. So yeah, when you've got guys like that chasing you down across the UK, it's not a pretty thought, really. I don't think. But yeah, no, it's exciting, and basically you don't know where you're going to be from day to day, because it's where the intelligence comes in from headquarters. They'll get something pinged and they'll be like, right, this pair are here, you've got to get to there, and we'll try and get on the tail and try and just slowly pin them down and catch them.
Yeah, how long were you filming that for?
The civilian one was 21 days, and then I came home for a week, and then I disappeared again for 14 days for the celeb version.
Would you do it again?
Yeah, like if you'd asked me the day I came home from the celeb one, the answer was no.
Yeah,
I was absolutely
the story
knackered
before, right, when it came on, or if your partner said he wanted to watch it on TV.
Oh, I was absolutely knackered. It's long days. Like you start filming at like 9 o'clock in the morning, but you've got to be on the ground ready. So if you finish in a certain location and the fugitives are nearby, they'll put you up in a hotel at night when the filming finishes. But we'll be like, could be an hour and a half away. So then you've got to try and get back there for 9. So you're starting even earlier, and then you film until you get done for the day and stuff. And yeah, they're long, tiring days. And when I got home, I was shattered. I missed my little lad and my missus. I'm used to being away, but my little boy's not been used to me being away since he was little.
How old's your little boy?
He's 10 now.
10. Nice.
He's
What's fatherhood like?
Oh, I love it. Absolutely. But that's one of the biggest keys for me. Like, everybody asks me, like, why I still do all this crazy stuff. Like, I mean, we were talking earlier about what might come after this, and I've already got ideas. But it's my little lad that inspires it, because he's looking up at me, and I want to make sure he's proud of me. And it sounds crazy, in the back of my mind, I don't think I've done enough yet to make him proud. And I know I have, because like just being a Royal Marine's like hard enough. Then to become a professional golfer is even harder, and then to become the first amputee skydiving instructor in the world's pretty cool claim, and setting a world record cycling across America.
Yeah, mate, you've got a few accolades already to be proud of.
In the back of my mind, if I start thinking like, right, he'll be proud of me for that, like I'd stop, and I'd like that heartbeat again. I don't want to stop. I want to keep living them highs and lows, and pushing myself to show what is achievable no matter what.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have any children yet, but I think I can understand, you know, if you have got a child, you want that person to be proud of the dad, you know, to look up at them and to be inspired by what they do. And I think it's more so the message that you're showcasing your lad as well. You know, if life beats you down, a bit like, you know, again with the ReBorn Mindset, if life beats you down, then there's always a way you can get back up. It's just strength and resilience. And I did actually want to speak about, you know, overall your resilience mindset. You know, if you've ever had doing any of like the training or going on hunted, or, you know, when you did like the indoor skydiving, if you've had like periods of self-doubt, can I actually commit to this? Can I actually do this? Have you had anything like that?
Yeah, probably a few times. That's the thing. Like, I can go on stage and talk to audiences, schools. I'm going into a prison talk. I can do that from a background, because I have been in them places, and I have been to. I know doubt. I know struggle. There's times like when I had my leg cut off, and initially when I had that cut off, I ended up with a really bad infection. I had to have a thing called a Pickman line that put in, which comes into your artery up here, straight into your heart, so you can get your antibiotics straight into your body. So there's been loads of times. The bike ride, and even now, like, it's a big thing. It's probably the biggest challenge I've set myself. The other things have all been pretty amazing things, but I mean, this is going to be a world record. It's probably the biggest, toughest challenge of my life. Probably even bigger than trying to become a Royal Marine, because when I did that, I had youth and 2 legs on my side. Now I'm not quite as young, and I'm missing body parts. So
for me, building like my mindset, so going back to like what you were saying, you know, on like a longer bike ride, sometimes it's just reassuring yourself, not only of like the satisfaction that you and like the accomplishment that you'll feel after that. Because for me personally, one of the main reasons why I still keep active and still train, you know, I've been training for like 10 years, is for the mental side of things, you know, for that serotonin and that dopamine release that you have after you've done like a long, grueling session. Those are the ones that you remember, rather than when, you know, you've just gone to the gym and just thrown a few weights around. You know, when it gets hard, those are the times that you remember that you actually pushed through and kept going. If I was doing like a you know, a 10K run, you know, it's always the first few kilometers that feel the hardest as your body's just getting into it. Then for me, I always find, you know, you just sort of, like you were saying, you did like another, 15, 20 miles after you went up Buckshaw Hill. You know, you just sort of find your groove, don't you? Yeah,
definitely. And I think with what you're saying there, kind of takes me back to the Royal Marines again. I, like at the end of your Royal Marines training, before you pass out, you have to do your commando tests, which is 4 tests. They're done day after day after day. The week before, you've been in the field, so you've had no sleep, lack of food, you're knackered. You've got to do a 9-mile speed march as a unit. You do the endurance course, which, if you remember the adverts, I don't know if you'd be old enough to remember the adverts back in the day, where...
What do you think I am?
There's a guy goes through a tunnel and he gets stuck in the tunnel, but it's underwater, and that's part of the endurance course. So it's 2 miles of hills, tunnels, and then a 4-mile run back to camp. You then have the Tarzan assault course, which is a high ropes assault course, followed by the normal assault course with a 30-foot wall, all timed, and you finish off with a 30-mile yomp across Dartmoor that's got to be completed in, I think it's 8 hours, and you do it with 30 pound on your back in boots. So Dartmoor's not the flattest, and that throws me back to the 30-miler. Like, it was probably the hardest test out of the lot for myself. Other lads picked other ones, but for myself, but what I noticed on that 30-miler, which comes back to mindset and people's journeys in life, was every single lad on that 8-miler hit the wall. Mm-hmm. But they were all at different times. I mean, I hit it pretty much around the 15-mile mark, so I was bang on the halfway mark. You get force-fed a Cornish pasty, which the Cornish pasties that you get in ration packs aren't the nicest at the best of times. Not when you've just done 15 miles and you've got 15 miles to go. You have that, you have a drink, you have a banana and some Haribo, and then you're sent back on your way. And I was like, I'm done. But one of my mates hit the wall 2 miles in. But he got that, he got through, climbed that wall, kept going, pushed through it, and then probably by the 4th, 5th mile, it got over that bit, and the rest of the 25 mile for him was a doddle. I hit it at 15 mile, knowing I've still got 15 miles to go, but probably by about 20 mile, the last 10 miles again was easy. Lads were hitting it like 28 miles in. Everybody in life, you're going to hit your wall at different stages. It's just knowing you can get past that and keep going and keep going and keep going. And it's the same principles I use on my ReBorn. It's the same principles I'm using in my ride. I am going to struggle. I've made peace with that now. I know it's going to break me. I know I'm going to hit LA next August and I'm going to be broken. But look what I've done.
And it's going to inspire people as well.
Yeah.
So
hopefully.
I will do, 100%. Have you ever like used any sort of therapy? Because we've got, like, as part of our program, we've got like 2 onboard mental therapists that can speak with the clients about whether it's trauma, grief. You know, again, if they feel as though they've hit that lowest point in life. Have you ever utilized anything of the sort yourself? Not really. When I first got blown up, I got sent to see a psychiatrist, obviously, for the trauma side of things. I walked into this room, and it was a young lad, not much older than myself, just passed out at uni and stuff like that. And he sat down and he's like, right, this is a safe space. Tell me how you feel and stuff. Being a young lad, just come back from getting shot at and blown up and stuff. Like, and mates are in bits. And I was like, how on earth can you relate to what I've been through? It might be a safe space, but you've not a clue what I've been through. So, like, I just walked out, and I've always used my friends for that, people who've been in them same situations. I've got a really good network around me. I'm quite lucky in that sense. I've got an amazing wife who's so super, super supportive. Like, all these stupid, crazy things. Like, when I decided I was doing Route 66, I went home and was like, do you know what? I'm going to cycle America next year. I'm going to do Route 66 on a posh bike. And she's like, all right, well, what do we need to do? All right. Just come on one day,
she's just got that used to it now that she's just like, right, what do we need to do? Like, how can we do this? Because it is very much a we. We're a team. Like, I was saying this to the videographer, Jake, before, because hopefully he's coming to Route 66 to document it.
Oh yeah.
And we were saying then, like, we're a team. By the time we get to that end line, yeah, I'm the one that cycles over the finish line, but I've only got there because of people like Jake who I've got around me. I've got the right people there. So yeah, I've been quite fortunate in that sense for therapy. But I'm going into a prison at the end of this month to go and talk to the prisoners, to bring my ReBorn mindset to them. And I think there's a place for therapy. I think there's a place for educated people that have got it. But I think in certain walks of life and stuff like that, it resonates from lived experience more than it does from textbooks.
I can imagine, you know, it's quite common for anyone that's been in the Marines, been in the Army, you know, to have that same sort of thing with therapy of, you know, you can't like relate to what I've been through, you know, whether it's physical trauma or mental trauma from things that they've seen. I've seen, you would have seen the film American Sniper, about Chris Kyle. It's the same sort of thing with him when he comes back from war, and like he can't speak to his wife and he can't speak to his kids or his friends or any sort of therapist, because it's like you know, you won't feel as though anyone can relate. But I mean, it's all about your support network, innit?
Yeah, 100%.
If you've got like good friends and good family around you, that you are comfortable enough to be being vulnerable and open with, then that is like, you know, your form of therapy. I just think sometimes, especially with like, you know, that stoic mindset in men, there can be a little bit of like a negative stigma around like mental health. It's like if I had a client that was maybe struggling and they didn't really have much family or friends that can either relate to them or that they feel comfortable opening up about this sort of stuff with, as soon as you bring up the word therapy, I don't really like to use the word therapy because they think, oh, like,
shut down.
Yeah, and it's like, even if they're not having like a huge mental breakdown, in their mind, they view it as like, I'm like losing my head, like I'm having like a full on mental breakdown. They might just be having a little bit more stress with work or having like one or two issues at home. But I think it's just a way, I think it's like a men's mindset thing that, you know, like a lot of the time we are closed books and we just sort of try and deal with things ourselves sometimes, if you know what I mean. So yeah, I think it's all about your support network and the people you've got around you ultimately. Yeah,
don't get me wrong. There's definitely a place for therapy, and like it probably sounded like I don't agree with it, because I do. I 100% do.
No, that's not what
I feel like what I'm doing now with my ReBorn mindset and with the bike ride, and I'm trying to show people there is a place for things like that, and I share my story openly to the world, like the tops and the lows. Like the bike ride's going to be documented from now to the end of it, showing when I'm broken, when I'm crying, when I've had enough, because I want people to realise like it's okay to be sad, and it's okay to be struggling, and it's okay to be in that low point. Just know you've got to bring yourself out of it. And if you've got, like I say, I'm lucky I've got people around me, and I'm willing to share my story. Not everybody's that confident. Not everybody feels like they can share the story. But always find somebody you can talk to. And sometimes a stranger that doesn't even know you is probably the best person to talk to. Somebody from that educated academic background that's got the qualifications to deal with it. The best person but they don't know you, they don't know your family, they don't know your friends. So they're the best person sometimes to confide in. And therapy is an amazing, like, I'm quite lucky that I use my story to tell people that is my therapy.
Yeah, like say, yeah.
Sharing that story, getting it out there and showing people what they can do helps me, because I see what I've lived, and it reinstates that in my mind when I share my story. Like, yeah, you've been through that before, so what did we do then? Right, let's do it again now. I'm quite fortunate in that aspect that I've got that mindset, but not everybody has, and that's where therapy and being able to talk comes in.
Yeah, like your therapy is venting, you know, to other people and letting people not necessarily relate to you, because, you know, it's quite a unique set of circumstances, like a unique story, but just again the overall message that, and then if you like from demonstrating and seeing people take what you say, and then you like over the course of months, years, actually see the same person improve their life, probably going to be, you know, again, it's going to be worthwhile, you know, from what happened to you. Like it was like some people in your sort of situation that do a lot of like speaking and motivational talking and stuff like that and resilience building. It's like their calling in a way. That's the way like they view it later on down the line. Obviously not earlier in years, that's like straight after it's happened or whatever, but later on, you know, once you start doing those sort of things and you're like, if you've got enough courage to do that, that's, you know, like a good way to view it for a lot of people.
Yeah, definitely. And like you say, like it does sound daft saying it, but I think my story is relatable. I think, like, yeah, it's an extreme version of getting blown up or becoming. Not everybody's going to be able to become a professional golfer and stuff like that. A lot of the things I've done have been at the extreme levels, but it's still relatable to be like, well, I was broken and I fixed. I quit golf. I walked away from it one morning, woke up like, I'm done with the game. I was sponsored by Strixon and Adidas at the time, and I just phoned the sponsors up. I was like, look, thank you very much for your support. I explained everything to them. They was like, yeah, we 100%, we're back here. You do you. And I just walked, and everybody thought I was crazy. Like, you've got this amazing opportunity. And I was like, but I'm not happy anymore. I'm not just going to do something just because it sounds like I should do it. Like, I've got to be happy in doing what I'm doing. I need that honest conversation with myself, and just walking away from that, it doesn't have to be to the extreme of walking away from a professional sport. It could be you're just not happy in work, or everything in my story is relatable to everybody, just in that they just put their story to mine rather than put mine to theirs, if that makes sense.
Is that what you like when you go to do like the talk in the prison? Is that what you like the inmates, is that what you want them to take away from when you go to visit and do a talk like that?
Yeah, it's obviously this one at the end of this month is my first one in prison, which is quite exciting times. I'm really looking forward to it because everybody deserves a second chance, no matter what. And people just need to know that they can change. Like, not necessarily change. Like, people can end up in prison from just one bad mistake, but that doesn't have to define you. Like I said earlier, your life's like a book, and if the book just had one chapter in it, it'd be a really boring book. So just keep turning them pages and get to that next chapter and be reborn in your next chapter. That next chapter is the start of the rest of your life. You're not defined by that first chapter. Your next part of your story comes in that next chapter. So yeah, like that's kind of the story I'm going to get across in prison to show them that, give them a toolkit to say, right, these are what I've done. This is how I've done it. Yeah, I've got blown up. You've ended up here. Like, I come out of the Marines, and I heard somebody talking about this the other day, and it really hit home. Like, when they say, like, you get integrated back into society after military life. But I joined the Marines at 18 years old. That's all I knew. Like, where have I been integrated in society previously? I've not. I've gone through school, I've gone through college and stuff. My adult life started in the Marines. So to say I'm being reintegrated, I'm not. I'm coming out of a world that's leagues apart to civilian life, and having to find my way a lot older than most people do, from completely different background in a completely different environment. So you're not getting reintegrated at all. You're getting integrated. So I could have come out of the Marines and gone down the same path as them. And like, I had times where I was spending like hours in the pub because I didn't know what to do with myself when I was first discharged, or even before getting discharged, while I was waiting for that. There was like a lull in between actually being given the nod that you're out and being out. So I was still employed, I was still getting paid, but I had nothing to do. So I was finding myself in the pub at like 4 o'clock in the afternoon every day, just because I was bored. And that could quite easily slipped and sent me down the wrong path as well. So everything's relatable. Like, and them guys, they've just made that one. They've had that one bit of adversity, that one thing in their life, and that response has been negative, and it's led them to where they are. I had the one big bit of adversity, and my response was positive, and it's led me to where I am.
The difference is, though, it's the hardship, though, that you've got to endure to come out of that. You know, because people, especially in today's society, you know, people want things easy, especially with social media and it, like, viewing people's lives, you know, which only shows the best parts. People want to, like, if you see like these Instagram gurus that sell these courses or whatever, you know, people, they want that level of success and they want to sort of get to that point, but some people just aren't willing to put in the work. And especially, you know, relating to like prison inmates coming out of that, you know, like if you've got that on your record, it makes it even harder. You've got
100%.
a lot more to sort of battle with, because I've got somebody that I know that spent a few years in prison, and now it's like quite difficult to get any sort of normal job, because you've like, it's sort of like something that always lingers in the background that you've just got on your tail for the rest of your life then.
Yeah, definitely, and it is going to be tough, but I think that's the joy of, when I was saying before, my stories are related to everybody because it's not the extremes, whereas for them it will be the extremes, where I was at my lowest, I was at my highest and stuff like that. When people come out of prison, a lot re-offend because it's what they know and it's what's easiest. So it's teaching them, and like I say, giving them that toolkit to say, right, yeah, it's not going to be easy. You're not going to be handed a living. You're not going to be looked at as, like, not everybody's going to be as accepting as I am wanting to come in and help you. But you can change that mindset. You can change other people's mindset to how they perceive you. You can put whatever you in front of people you want. Like you say, with social media, you only see the good bits of everybody, but that's what people choose to put in front of the world. You can do that for yourself. You can put the right you forward and forget the old you. Yeah, it'll still be there, but once people start seeing you're rebuilding, you're doing the positives, and every little setback that you get when you come out, it is going to be tough. But if you can learn from every single one of them, again, every no that you get told, it'll be that adversity. Your response goes positive and say, right, well, I got a no for that. Is it because of the prison? Right, yeah, it is. Right, we need to re-angle this and see how we can show that I've changed and I have developed to make people believe it. So if you can learn from every no and you can set that and respond positively and like, right, well, that one didn't work. Next one, let's move on, let's move on, let's move on. Eventually, them doors will start opening, and don't just go knocking on them, kick them open. You'll get there, you will. There's everybody in the world wants to believe good in people, whoever they are. Inherently inside, everybody wants to see the good in people. You just have to put it in front of them for them to see it. And I think that'll be the biggest key with the prison. And
how would someone keep themselves self-accountable, do you think? Like with everything that you've got going on, like say, for example, you're doing a lot of miles at the moment. What's your strategy for holding yourself to that standard and keeping yourself accountable to it? Is it the end goal or is it the process? Because sometimes the process of achieving something is actually better than the end goal for a lot of guys. Like for guys that we've got on the program, they'll go to, our phase one is like the fat loss phase. Someone might have lost 20 kilos, but I always just say, just enjoy the journey, because, once you actually get there, don't get me wrong, you're going to feel sick. It's great. But the actual hard work and graft is the enjoyable part. But yeah, just going back to like the accountability of that, have you got like an approach?
Yeah, like I try and write everything down that I want to achieve. Yeah, basically journaling. I have vision boards, so I know where I want to be and what I want to achieve. And then when you look at that vision board, every day I do something to get me one step closer. So at the minute, one of my biggest visions is Santa Monica Pier in LA. So I know what I have to do every day to get to that Santa Monica Pier, and that's putting the graft in now. Like you say, it is a journey. Enjoy the journey. Like, even when I get over there, it's going to be graft. It's not going to be pretty. It's not going to be fun, and it's going to be but it's a beautiful journey. Like I've drove it, and it's absolutely stunning to drive. So take in what's around you, like embrace it. So now all I'm doing to keep myself accountable, I've announced it to the world as well. So once it's out in that public forum,
you have to commit now. You can't back out.
Yeah, there's nothing you can do about it now. So I am cycling Route 66 next year, no matter what, because the world knows it, and I've got to prove it to everybody. So it's going to be crazy, but that's the thing. Just like journaling's a big one. Every day, write down something that went well that day, something that went wrong, how you could have changed that went wrong, what you've learned from it, and get all that out your head before you go to bed at night. You'll sleep better. Get up in the morning the next day, look at your vision board and like, right, what actions have I got today? Even write them down again. Say, right, that's our end goal. What do I want to do today to get me one step closer? Like I said to my little boy, that 1 mile closer. What do I need to do today to hit that 1 mile? And then once you've done that 1 mile, what do I need to do today to do that next mile? And just break it down like that and slowly get to where you need to be.
Do you feel a responsibility now as like a role model? Like you say, you've aired it now to the world, mate. So everyone knows you've got to pull through now. There's no backing out. have like pressure on your shoulders? Do you have like a bit, not overwhelming, but a bit of a responsibility now? Do you think as a role model in terms of like community?
I'd like to think so, yeah. I'd really love to think that people could look up to me and see what I'm doing and use that to strengthen them, which, yeah, that will push me along, but I'm accountable to myself and my family. That's, at the end of the day, everything I do is for my beautiful wife and my little boy, so that's what makes me drive and keep me accountable. So if I can bring a load of other people along for the journey and inspire some others, and people can look up to me and gain things from my story, then, as I said before, everything I want to do, I want it to be worthwhile. So if that comes off, then brilliant, and more people want to reach out and speak to me, I'll help anybody and I'll talk to anybody and try and make a difference in the world. That's all we can do.
Yeah, mate, I'm sure there's been a lot of wisdom that people will take from this podcast. What does success look like for you, though? In like 5 years, you know, if you look back to this year, next year, what does success look like for you in the long run, do you think? Is it to inspire, you know, like in terms of the community, you know, again, that from that relatability standpoint, the message that you're transpiring to people, or is it more for yourself?
It's probably twofold.
Yeah.
I want to build a ReBorn community up, where other people can reach out and share their stories and inspire other people through the ReBorn community. Everybody can have their own ReBorn day. But the main key to success for me, if you look probably just slightly ahead of that, probably 10 years time, my little boy will be 20 and he's doing what he wants. I don't want him to grow up to be like me. He can do what he wants. I want him to be his own person, but I want him to have learnt that he can go and achieve whatever he wants. It doesn't have to be going joining the Marines. I couldn't care less what he does, who he becomes, as long as he's happy and he's doing what he loves and he's successful himself. And to me, that's success, because that little boy has watched me go and achieve my dreams, and it's made him go and achieve his, whether they're the same as mine or different. I couldn't care less. I'll be happy and proud of him and love him to bits. My success is seeing him grow and surpass whatever I've done in my life by doing what he wants.
I love that, mate. Yeah, and this whole podcast, really, for anyone watching, you know, if we've got any clients, it debunks a lot of excuses, really, you know, for especially because guys that we work with, you know, we'll check in, oh, I'm struggling for time, or I've got this going on, I've got that going on, but you know, at the end of the day, from everything that you've been through and the challenges that you're enduring, you know, like you make the time, it's all about priority, you know, what it is you want to prioritize. But mate, I really appreciate you coming down.
No, thank you for having me.
Yeah, at the end I always like to do like just like a quick fire questions. It only needs to be a sentence, otherwise we'll be here for like another hour.
We got 2 seconds, just so I can let my missus know I'll be all right to pick him up, because she's phoning me like mad in my pocket.
Sorry, mate. Yeah, this is literally just the last segment, so we'll be done in 30 seconds. Yeah. 30 seconds, mate.
Leaving this in, by the way, keeping it raw.
Yeah. She's been going mad in my pocket.
Yeah, sorry, mate. Yeah, sorry, mate. We're almost done now. First thing you'll eat when you finish Route 66?
I'm in LA, Anna, so...
and the portions will be big.
I've got to go and find either a nice steakhouse somewhere, I think, a nice piece of steak.
Mm-hmm. Coffee or like energy drinks?
Coffee all day long.
Coffee.
For the route, energy drinks, but on a daily coffee.
And electrolytes.
Yeah, electrolytes.
What's going to be hardest, the heat, the hills, or the headspace?
Probably listening to Jake moan at me all the way. Probably the heat.
I'll leave you doing the moaning. yeah.
He'll be telling me, shut up, whinging. It's hot as Harvey. Yeah, no, it'd probably be the heat, to be honest, because I'm doing it in August, which is one of the hottest points of the year.
I was going to say, yeah.
I'll be conditioned for hills by then.
No joke over there, mate, no joke. I've never actually been to the States, but one word to describe how you'll feel crossing the finish line.
Relieved.
And just any sort of last message, mate, for someone struggling with their challenges right now, whether it's, you know, some form of like disability, mental health, hardship, anything like that.
Probably the biggest bit of advice I'd give anybody is going back to my heartbeat thing. That you'll always come back up. You just have to work towards it. It's not easy. It's not given. Probably one of the biggest lessons I learned in my life was no one's coming to save me. I've got to do it for myself. But there are points you will rise again, just like your heartbeat. You will come back up.
Mm-hmm. Well, mate, thank you very much for coming down. Really enjoyed this podcast. Feel like I've personally taken quite a lot away from it in terms of mindset, resilience. Guys, thank you for watching. Hopefully you have taken some inspiration and some wisdom from today's podcast. Make sure you like, subscribe. Our next guest is going to be, I think, Terence, head of client success in October. Well, thank you for watching. Thank you again, Aaron.
Pleasure.
And see you in the next one. Peace. Thank you very much, mate.
Oh, no,
really,
thanks
really
for having me, mate.
That was good.